Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Let's recite the dua for the health and protection of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. The dua which is known dua faraj, but technically it's the dua for health and protection of the Imam. And side note, one of the times, inshallah, we'll discuss it in the discussion about when we do Kitab Mikyal. One of the times that the duas are more with more probability of acceptance and response is when it's raining. So, and inshallah we'll talk about it, but one of the reasons is because rain is one of the mercies of God, that everything life is coming from water and rain. So when Allah is bestowing and showering us with his mercy, it's highly recommended to pray, to the dua. So with having that in mind, right now here is raining. Let's recite the dua and inshallah we get started. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma kulli waliyika al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan salawatuka alayhi wa ala aba'ih في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا اللهم اجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره. So first of all, I don't like to sit, but because of the hybrid environment, I have to. So my apologies for that. Let me start with giving a little bit of background of the basic genesis of this, like what happened that we are here. I think in AIM Sha'ban Camp 2022, those that they were there were a series of discussion about Imam Mahdi, and our invited scholar, Sheikh Mustafa, when he was talking to the youth, he encouraged them of reading the Kitab Mikyalul Makarim. And I remember he said whoever finishes that by next year, he will pay half of the fare for for the Karbala, Ziyarah of Karbala. And I added another half and I said I paid the rest. So, and then since then, friends reached out, let's have some discussions or overview of the book and have the opportunity to discuss and read. So I was eager to do that, but for some reason it was postponed. But something very interesting happened, which I want to share with you in the first session. In last trip to Iran that I had, I usually spend some time visiting scholars, teachers, and then I was meeting with some of our friends, and I brought up the idea of discussing about Mikyal, and he said, "Oh, by the way, we have." Yes, sorry, I just saw the chat. Yes, they can join. So he said, yes, because the book of Mikyal is a little, not complicated, but it's too deep, too much. It might be hard for people to read. We summarized it and prepared an overview, a thin book that people can benefit from the book. I said, okay, do you have available handy so I can purchase? They said, no, you're out of it. I said, okay. I came home and it was 1 day or 2 days before our departure. My dad said, by the way, someone brought you a bag and said, give this book to Muhammad. He's going to US. I said, okay. And I opened and I saw the same very books that we were talking about was in there. I said, okay, oh, so there are two brothers. One is Hussein, one is Hassan. I said, I met Hussein Agha, we talked about it. Did Hussein Agha give it to you? He said, no, Hassan Agha. I said, it's been 20 years. I've never had any conversation with him. How come the same book that we were looking for, he randomly handed to me? So I don't know. So I was shocked, like, Salaam alaikum wa rahmatullah. And I called Hussein Agha. I said, your brother, out of blue, gave a bag of that book, the overview of Mikyal, to my father to give it to me. while you are going to US, have that with you. Did you tell him? He said, no, I didn't have any conversation. So, okay, tell me from where did he come up with that idea that someone that you have not had any conversation in last 22 years, give him the book that he was just talking about it. So that was very interesting, shocking moment. And and I came back and I said this story to Sheikh, and he was like, okay, do you need any more sign or clue that you should start this ASAP? I said, well, maybe still I need more, but that was really interesting thing that out of blue again. And this is the booklet. So we will talk about it, inshallah. And then I didn't start it yet. So this Ramadan, those that they were attending the majalis here, they know that the Sheikh talked about the Imam Mahdi alayhi salam a lot and encouraged friends to read 4 books. And we had discussion with Imam Al-Asr Masjid, Shah Najaf, to start this, to launch this that is long past due. So after a lot of back and forth, we said, okay, that's enough. Let's get it started. And then we sent that announcement. Inshallah, we will have 7 sessions here, 7 sessions in either Fairfax Imam Al-Asr or Alexandria Shah Najaf.
Is that course being done?
Not in the big masjid, but there is a existing house that is renovated inside. Yes, they are doing Dua Nutbah, by the way, every Friday. So with that, that's why we are here. So we called it Discussion Circle about Imam Mahdi. Again, there were a lot of discussion back and forth. What should we call it? I said, let's get the job done instead of going to all these formalities, which some of them are important. So the idea is, before I open the floor for questions, the idea is, and by the way, Brother Mahdi, I saw that you are requesting to record. I will inshallah post the recording in the group, in the Telegram chat. The idea is to get together under the name of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, our living Imam salawatullahi alayhi, and for his name, and form at least a temporary endeavor to talk, discuss, learn, teach one another, share knowledge about him, and increase our knowledge, and more importantly, to connect with him. As I will inshallah talk about the book of Mikyal a little bit today, the beauty of this book is it's not like only source of academic knowledge about Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, born this time, this, that, this historical event happened. No, rather be a practical guide, practical reminder for us to inshallah get closer to the Imam alayhi salam and be more connected and live with him inshallah. So another note before again I open the mic for questions or comments. Personally, I prefer discussions, like having two-way discussion back and forth, and this is a discussion group. But maybe first session after we get it started, I go over some of the content, but I want this to be the opportunity for everyone to share. Don't sit the format. Imagine in your mind, this is a circle, okay? Even though I'm sitting here, you are there. I said at the beginning, for those that are not here, it's because of the hybrid. We can't have it like that. So I'm just facilitator here. And I want everyone to share your thought, ask question, participate, and make it as a discussion, not just a lecture, and which is provide more probability of falling asleep, taking nap, which is, by the way, is good. And we are not in Ramadan, so your sleep is not technically worship anymore. Okay, we are past that stage. If you came here for ibadah of sleeping, that should be in Ramadan. Right now, doesn't apply. So with that, before we go to the content and the book and what we are going to do, inshallah, any comments, any question, any complaint, anything? And by the way, friends that they came a little late, you can see again, help yourself. Don't do ta'aruf. Again, this is without formalities. Yes.
Why are we not?
That's a good idea. That's not in my hand, but I think we can do that. I asked to have a U-shaped, that was my suggestion, but I don't have even one vote here. That was my suggestion. If you can set the tables in a U shape so people will be in a circle. So I think we can give that feedback to Brother Moqsid next time. Do that.
We should have tables.
Yes, yes. We said, okay, let's do it first time and see how it goes. But I agree. Good idea. Thank you. So U shape is fine. It's closer to circle. And I put it here so we close that would like a cabinet meetings. Yeah.
Or we can get a 360 camera.
Yeah. This is my innovation. At work, we have something is called the owl. It's a new technology. They hang it from the middle of the conference room. It's smart. Whoever talks, it has all cameras around. Anyway, which is really cool. Okay. One comment in the chat. So I read that again. Everyone, please. I mean, you are aware, but get used to the hybrid environment. Friends online, I may miss the chat, even though now I have 1, 2, 3 windows open in front of me. I may miss, so be patient, and my apologies in advance. This book has been in my reading list for a year. I also was shocked when I got an email about reading this book in the discussion circle from my university email that I do not use for any other purposes. Interesting. I think all of us are chosen to do this discussion, inshallah. That's a very interesting point. Thanks for sharing. Again, for me, that personal experience was, I still cannot digest that how come the author of the book himself handed over to my dad to give it to me out of blue. No connection with anyone, which was shocking. Are there handouts or link to the book or content? Yes. I will talk about that in a second, inshallah. Sister Hora, Brother Mahdi, is there a shared PDF version? Yes. So the 4 books that were talked and nominated for discussion, they were Kitab al-Mikyal, Kamaluddin, wa Tamam al-Ni'mah, the Ghaybat al-Nu'mani, and was Ahsan, Muntakhab al-Athar. So we started with Mikyal. Inshallah, I will share the Arabic, English, and Farsi versions in the Telegram channel. By the way, if you have not joined, please join, because that's where we share the content. And also, the English version is available hard copy here, so which has another interesting journey, that how it ended up here. So I coordinated with Sheikh Baghar Nejad. He got some copies printed for us in Qom. They didn't have available. They contacted the publisher, and then he brought them to California. From there, shipped it to me. So we have these, but these are liwajhillah, la fi sabilillah. That means you have to pay. Wajhillah, right? The hard copies are $20 with student discount, probably.
Well, that's not hard.
It's hard copy.
Paperback.
Hard copy means like printed, but not, you're talking about the cover.
Yeah.
That's hard cover.
Oh.
It's hard copy without hard copy. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Learning English from fun. 101. Anyone who has, we have more. We have actually another box in my car. I didn't bring, it was raining. So for friends online, if you want it, we can, inshallah, send it to you, ship it to you wherever you are in the US. We have some friends overseas that might be hard, but I will share, inshallah, the PDF of this as well. So, and I brought the Farsi translation here, the book, and then I have that thin, gifted, miraculously series as well, which I will talk about it, inshallah. So, the idea is we want to have it, keep it precise and short. We will not have time to go read line by line the book. Usually, sometimes we do that in other classes, discussions. Rather, I will use as a reference the overview. These 3 books that are called in Farsi Darsname Mikyal, which means they turned Mikyal into a couple of lessons, short lessons for those that they may not have time or it's complicated or complex for them to read. To read this, it's not in English, unfortunately, but this would be my base. We will not go over the book again cover to cover, but inshallah we'll give you an overview. However, that should serve as an encouragement to read the book. Those one of the sisters who mentioned that was on her reading list, that will give you encouragement to read. But if you plan so, please do it now so you can add and contribute to the discussion. So say, oh, when we talk about that chapter of Mikyal, you say, oh, we read that. What about this hadith? Because one of the reasons there are more than 1,700 hadith used in this book, and discussions and topics, and you will hear that from me. If you want to go that's one of my hesitation, to be honest, beside my laziness to start this initiative, was like, if we start Mikyal easy, it will be 3 years of discussion in a weekly discussion format, and for obvious reason we don't want to do that. So that's why we make it we do it inshallah in a different way. So with that, any comment, any question, any suggestion, again, please make it as a discussion, not just one way. Yes.
So for those who want to read, they can still come and ask you questions or ask the group questions about
Of course.
pages or certain hadith or certain.
Of course. Yes, please. If you are reading the book, share, and whenever, I mean, I suggest like in making notes about your questions and comments and bring them up in our discussion. I don't want to make this as a university course, right? As I said, we want this to be a platform, an initiative that connect us more to Imam of our time, our living Imam, and get some action items, action plans from this book, which has, as I said, one of the beauties and uniqueness about this book is the fact that he wrote it that way, not just dumping on us some information. You may have questions. There are a lot of great scholarly discussion in this book, so definitely bring that up. That's a good opportunity to learn about Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, and inshallah be more connected. So Brother Mahdi says, sorry, one online, one in person. I missed the explanation about the printed book. Yes, it is in English. It is in English, but as you will see in the book, there are some du'as. In the English version, the du'as are printed in Arabic with the translation in English. I will share the PDF of this, okay, inshallah, for free. It's free already. But the printed copies, again, because we paid the publisher in Iran and then shipping costs from California to here, and the books are, mashallah, very heavy. So, and so far, for people that they prefer Arabic reading, I have only volume 1 in Arabic. Inshallah, volume 2 miraculously will be shipped to my email somehow.
Is it a good quality? Because the ones I found online were.
Yes, is the Arabic?
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
But my question was going to be, are you going to like suggest for those who want to read up to this page or read up to that chapter, or?
I will we go by chapters, but not in order that the Mikyal is. Okay, so we may use different flow, if that makes sense. Like, for example, right now, I'm going to talk about the overall, like about the author, things like that, which is not in the book itself, right? But we are going to talk about it. So, okay. Any other comment, question? Do you see my screen? This is the Arabic.
Also.
Yeah, it's a high quality, right? The problem of checking the TV from. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to go back to the. No. Don't worry about it. I have to do it from here. Okay. No. Make it towards the audience. I'm good because we want them to see. All right. If no comments or question, anything else? No? Okay, let's get it started. I think Brother Mahdi only asked for the Telegram channel. I will send it to you, inshallah, to join. All right. Let's recite salawat and get it started, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. All right, so as I said, inshallah, we are going to start the book of Mikyal, and then today we'll talk about the author and history and some of the content of the book and overview about the book. What does the name of the book mean? Mikyalul Makarim fi. I want to read it full, and I want everyone to stand up because that's a special respect to the Imam, and inshallah we will ask for his attention to our circle, inshallah, to have more blessing. The name is Mikyalul Makarim fi fawaid ad-du'a lil qa'im. What does the name mean? Anyone knows? Mikyal means what? Ahsan, scale. وأوفوا الكيل إذا كلتم. Kail is the root for Mikyal. Kail means like scale, actually. Might be some connection. Very Safavi. Scale and Kail. Mikyal is mef'al, is usually in Arabic. We have a beautiful system. Things that are instruments, they're usually on the tone of mef'al, like miftah, key, mikyal, scale, something that you weigh with, right? Anyway, so scale or of fada'il and virtues and merits, like give you the weight and it's scaled or a lot of it, basically, in what? In benefits of praying and supplicating for Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. So, inshallah, we are going to talk about the author of the book and some of the highlights about knowing Imam Mahdi and praying for him, recommended times and states to pray for Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, motives to pray for Imam Mahdi, why we should do that, and some of our duties toward Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. So let's get it, and these are, I think, these are the five sections of our overview, again inspired by this book. In 5 chapters we will go, and in each chapter we will have some short lessons. So in the first one, which we are going to start today, preliminaries, we have 5 parts. Knowing the author, Sayyid Muhammad Taqi Isfahani, a little bit of his life. Again, not just in academic way. There are a lot of lessons for us in his life, as we were going to talk about. His bibliography, the books that he authored, and again, overview about the Mikyal, and we'll end, inshallah, our session about the virtues of supplication. Because again, this book is all about the benefits of praying for the Imam. So talking about the prayer and supplication itself is an important part. Okay, so the author, Razwanullah alayh, his name is Ayatollah Sayyid Muhammad Taqi Musawi al-Isfahani. He was about 140 years ago born in Isfahan, and he also passed away in Isfahan in 25th of Ramadan. He had a very short life compared to, others that usually 70, 80, 90 years of old, our scholars have. And his death was a little bit, suspicious. Like something happened after he returned from his trip to Atabat in Iraq and Ziyarah. So some say that he was poisoned by one of the head of the hospital, that he got some normal sickness. He was hospitalized there, but the doctor was one of the groups that are anti-Shia and especially anti-Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, known as Baha'is, that they believe in someone else as the Imam. So again, it's not confirmed, but his young age that he was he died in the hospital, and then his son has said that they poison him. But again, that's another thing for discussion. He was an orphan. Basically, he lost his mom when he was born, and then when he was very young, he lost his father. Why I brought this up, again, we need to know him, but it's interesting that how someone can be that successful in very young age. Inshallah, we'll see the books that he authored and compiled. Even he lost his mother and went through a lot of hardships. Again, I encourage everyone definitely for more reading about any topic that we talk about. This is just a little bit of all these discussions. So for example, there is a book by the name of Abwabul Jannat fi Adab al-Jumu'at, which is a book that didn't have precedence before, about the rituals and the traditions of Fridays. What Islam has taught us about Friday, what should we do in Fridays, which is a Yawmul Eid and special day and holiday and all of that. So specific book about that topic by name of Abwab al-Jannat, when he was 24, 25 years of age, which is very, very young. And then writing a book needs knowledge, needs thorough reading and discussion, knowing about different topics, being able to compile and do that, right? So as we will talk about, the idea of Mikyal came to his mind when he was writing that book. At the age of 29, he went to Hajj, and then there is another book. He had a couple of books about Imam Mahdi specifically. One of them was Wazifatul Anam, the duties of people in the time of Ghaibah of the Imam. So he finished that when he was 30 years old, and then started writing the Kitab of Mikyal when he was 30 years old, right? And again, there are some other books that he wrote while writing Mikyal, some of them in Farsi for public. As you know, our scholars, they use the public, they use other languages than Farsi, than Arabic, to write for general public. Like, for example, Allama Majlisi, he wrote Bihar in Arabic because that's for experts, and the language of religion is Arabic. But for public, he wrote books that about like the deeds and rituals, things like that. Hilyatul Muttaqin in Farsi, fluent Farsi. While Sayyid Muhammad Taghi Musavi was writing the Mikyal, he had some other books in Farsi as well. So he finished the book at the age of 46, and that's the year that he passed away. That's where he finished the second volume of Mikyal. So you see, there were like 16-year gap, but it was not gap. Again, you may have some different research project in hand, writing, finish one, and then continue. Oh. Any comment, any question, anything? Yes.
Anyone know when that picture was taken of him?
That's a very good question. No, I can research. Usually we give the task to whomever asked the question. But because I don't want to discourage you, and I actually want to encourage the questions, the first session I will not be that brutal. So I will do that. Actually, I realized that I think that's the only photo of him available. People did some like editing, removing the background, or the picture is bigger, wider. So this is like cropped version. So, but I will, and just out of my curiosity, why that matters? Do you want to see how old he was in that photo or what?
Yeah, but also, so if you look at the dates, you would have to have, not many people had access to like photography. You kind of had to either know someone, have money, or have, you know, some special connection. It wasn't like anyone could take a picture, you know, you
Right.
had to
Right.
set up and have a picture.
Good point. Interesting. And by the way, friends online, can you hear the questions here on the floor, or I have to repeat them? Oh, what is the question? Okay, good. You see, I just got my answer. So I remind myself to repeat the question. If not, you please remind me, okay? So very good point. That's why, oh, but they said I got it. So, but I repeat it. The question was when, at what age or what year this photo was taken? And I said, I don't know. One thing is interesting. Usually that's the case, even from the companions of the Imams, their detailed date of birth is unknown, but their death is known. Anyone knows why? Can you guess why that's the case? Yes.
When they're born, no one really knows them.
Ahsan. Very good. Because when they were born, at that time, I mean, people usually don't, unless there were, because some people they do, you may have heard from, I don't know, your grandparents, that when someone newborn in the family, they wrote the date of birth on the back of a Quran or something to remember. But back in the day, it was not the case. So people will say, oh, they can guess from that book that they know it was authored in, for example, 2023. He said, oh, I was 20-year old, or I am 20-year-old that I'm writing this, so they can reverse engineer and trace and go back. So maybe for the same reason, that's the case, that this photo, I guess, should be towards the end of his life, because before that, he was not probably that famous without any books or anything. And again, like 140 years ago, yeah, that was the beginning of the photography. That's why I don't think it will be more than one or two available of it. Okay, thank you for the comments. They said we cannot hear the question. We guess per your answer. That's good. Thanks for the feedback. Okay, any other question? Okay, let's move on. We have a lot of content to cover today. So quick overview of his bibliography. So he authored more than 20 books. So obviously we don't have time, and that would be too technical to go over all details. They are in variety of topics: ethics, literature, Arabic literature. As you know, a lot, not most. I have not done the math, but a lot of the greatest Arabic linguists, they were from Iran. They were Persian, generally speaking. So they have books in Arabic literature, and then prayers, supplication, and specifically Mahdawiyah, about the Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, at least 4 books, which one of them is Mikyalul Makarim. That's the only book in Arabic about Imam Mahdi. 3 of them are in Farsi. There are some other things I skipped. He had a very good sense of poetry. There are a lot of poems by him in Arabic and Farsi. He had a very good handwriting, calligraphy. So this is a copy of his poems with his handwriting. So for friends here, I will leave it here. So if you are interested, you can see. And I know maybe right now, nowadays, no one cares about handwriting, right? Everything is typed, but definitely that's a cool thing to have. So he started writing the books at very early age, and at the age of, it's interesting and kind of, I don't know, like humiliating, right? At the age of 15, he started the first book that he wrote. I want to talk a little bit about the Abwab al-Jannat, which I mentioned. I talked about it. He was 25. The point that is related to our discussion is the initial idea of writing that Kitab Mikyal came when he was writing that, when talking about the benefits of dua, because as you know, a lot of rituals of Friday is about Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. So he mentions in one of the fawaid, one of the benefits in that book, that I wish one day I can write a book specifically about the benefits of dua for Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. So we will see that, we see that in that book. Any question, any comment? Yes.
I'm curious, usually like scholars, or when scholars are talked about, they mention who their students were, who their teachers were, what others said about them. Do we not know?
I mean, we do know, but I skipped them
Oh.
again for sake of time and be more precise. And if you're interested, and by the way, I want everyone, please share your comment and feedback about this style that we are running this session today. Okay, text me or talk to me, or even share in the chat. Like, is it a good style? Can we continue that way or not? But one of the things was I skipped and a lot of things to go faster, because we have a limited time and we want to finish it in time. So all right, now let's get to the Kitab of Mikyalul Makarim. First, we want to talk about the resources and content. As I said, the idea sparked in his mind when writing the book of Abwab al-Jannat. So he says that he has decided to write a book about that in Arabic, but similar to my story a little bit, that basically slipped the mind, and he didn't start writing the book, and even he didn't think of any book, any name for that book. So one night he saw a dream, and which Imam Mahdi alayhi salam came to his dream, according to what he says, and he kind of rather command him to write that book and write it in Arabic and name it Mikyalul Makarim fi Fawaid al-Du'a ila Imam Zaman alayhi salam. So basically, maybe the idea was by him, but the command was from the Imam alayhi salam, specifically the name. I mean, do that you had that idea in mind, do it, write it in Arabic, and name it Mikyalul Makarim. However, that still didn't happen. So years passed till 1912. Okay, 1912, when at the age of 29, 30, he went to Hajj. So what happened was, that year there was a very severe cholera happening in the disease in Mecca, which is not a joke, right? It kills back and forth. If you read the stories about what is called waba, right, or waba, it's very basically aggressive, and people get killed. So he make a vow where in Mecca, that I have promised, and even Imam told me do that, and yet I have not been able to do that. I make a vow or pact that if I get back safely and revive from, basically stay alive from this disease, I will do that and write that book. And alhamdulillah, he does that. As soon as he arrives, he start writing this book. So the book overall is structured in 8 chapters, Kitab of Mikyal. So those that inshallah want to start reading or skim through it, when you want to ask question, instead of giving the page numbers because of variety of publications or years of, different types and different language, give the reference from the chapter. Say, okay, for example, in chapter 1, he talks about this. What about that? How about this? Okay. So we want to have a quick overview about the book, the 8 chapters, know how he has organized the book. And we talk briefly about the resources. Then, inshallah, we'll talk about its significance and some of the interesting points about the book itself. The first chapter, you can see on the screen, obligation to know Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, why we have to do that. This is one of the things that we are asked to know our Imam. And then secondly, proving the Imamah of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, which is an interesting topic because of the fact that he was born in very unique circumstances. People didn't have a chance, generally speaking, general public, to come and meet the Imam and all of that. So proving the Imam of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam is very special. Some of the rights of the Imam on us and his bounties for us. He's basically setting the foundation to talk about the prayer for him. When someone, again, we'll talk about these in details. I don't want to make it spoiler, but when we know someone has rights on us, it is first of all more obliging us and also more encouraging to remember and care and pray and do good things for that person. Like, for example, parents, teacher, friend, your brother and family. So he talks about that in chapter 3. Chapter 4 is very interesting and one of the uniqueness about the book. He opened the chapter by saying some of the characteristics of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam that necessitate praying for him. I leave it to that, inshallah, we'll see, which is very interesting. For example, let me give just one example. And again, I will mention it in coming slides as well. That, for example, the fact that we know as a Shia that لو خلت الأرض ساعة بغير حجة لساقت بأهلها. One of the things that we believe is existence of Hujjah on earth is one of the reasons that Allah keeps everything together. That's a reason for living. So we all know that, right? As a creed, as a aqidah. But maybe we never thought about it. Wow. So that means I am alive for his sake, because Allah wants the earth and the life and everything be together because of him. So guess what? Isn't that my obligation now that I should pray for him? That I'm thankful, I'm grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that bestowed his mercy upon me by appointing an imam for me, that now I'm alive because of him. So characteristics of Imam Mahdi that necessitate praying for him. And again, that's a very long list that we'll be shocked at how can someone think about these. And these are the uniqueness about this book. Again, 5 virtues and results of praying for the Imam. Salawatullahi alayhi, 112 points, which those lists, I sometimes say, okay, if I don't have time or maybe busy or things like that to read, at least skimming through the table of content is interesting. Like when we read that, for example, for example, this chapter 5, the effects or the results of praying for the Imam. 1, 2, 3, one after one. When we read, that itself is educational and encouraging for us to do the prayer and be connected to the Imam alayhi salam. 6 times and places emphasized specifically for praying for the Imam alayhi salam. 7, how to pray. Like someone says, okay, I want to do this, but how? Some good information about that. And also, basically, our duties during the occultation and the ghaibah of Imam alayhi salam, what makes us closer to Imam. Again, as I said, the book is not an academic dump of information and just education. No, rather practical reminder. The book Mikyal, I mean, the author was, as I said earlier, a great scholar. So we don't have time to go to details of like the discussion of Rijal, the discussion of a lot of different things that he brought up in his book. But he has used about 118 resources, which there's a list. I don't want to go over all these details, but there are Shia Hadith, 26 reference book, Akhlaq, Sunni sources, about 8, 7, Tariq, definitely the books of history and all. So the list is very, very long, which again shows his dominance and knowledge about these topics. So last thing in this part, the book of Mikyal has been the subject for other books and commentaries, which again shows its significance. Because sometimes you write a book, okay, interesting. In nowadays language, what is it equivalent to? Like, you know, the academic papers, what matters? Anyone knows? Citations. Ahsan. That's how the students, their visa turned to green card, right? When seriously, that's a very, very important factor. They check how many citations do you have. I mean, you wrote an article, nobody cared. So that means one of the great criteria to measure, one of the Mikyals to measure how important your article is, one is the journal that you published in. It has an impact factor. Okay. Journal of garbage, you write everything, you don't get green card, you get black card. But when you publish an article in a high impact journal and like a lot of citations, that matters. So that's why it's important. It has been important. So Mikyal also has been, beside the citations, there are many books that they were written about the Mikyal, like Khulasa, summary, or Darsnama. As I said, this is a recent one, or some of the pieces of it, as we will see. Again, there are a lot of great content. So different authors, they thought, okay, let's make it more available, more useful for people. And they, I think about 10 books they were so far written about the book of Mikyal. Any comment, any question? I know I'm talking too much, but this is first session. Inshallah, we get the ball rolling and we'll have more discussions from others. Nothing? Good? We have a little bit of time, even though we started late, that we should not. All right, so should be good. Let's talk briefly about why Mikyal is important. What is its significance? And what is unique about it? Because there are a lot of books about Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. So first of all, the book is a very good source to introduce audiences to the whole subject of Mahdaviyyah. As you saw in the 8 chapters that we went over, there are a lot of discussions about Imam Mahdi himself, salawatullah alayhi. So that itself is a very important part. That gives a lot of great information. And I have seen others, when they are referring to a hadith or a topic, sometimes, which is interesting for me, they reference it from Mikyal. Exactly. Like I was like, why you don't reference from the primary source? That has been interesting fact that shows again the importance and significance of the book. The way that he is structured is very cool. in my word. Maybe again, because of his poetic taste, or, just counting. These are the things that are unique. No one has done this. What are the benefits of praying for Imam Mahdi alayhi salam? Now, for those that they have not read the book, we don't have time, but if we had, I wanted to do this exercise. Give you paper and pen and say, okay, write it down. The benefits and the effects of praying for the Imam. How many can we think of? Like 30 seconds. Think about it. Every second you think of one. It's hard because when you go to details, you discover a lot of beautiful things, which this book is unique about. So 100+ benefits is interesting. I mentioned about the academic data source. The last bullet here is also very interesting. He has a very creative way and method of talking about Imam Mahdi. For example, we have a lot of ahadith in akhlaq about the importance of praying in absence of your brother, right? Brother and sister in religion. Meaning that if I'm visiting Imam Rida alayhi salam, if I'm in Mecca, it's highly recommended that I pray for Reza, for example. May Allah, which I did, by the way, in front of Kaaba a lot for you. May Allah bless you, give his mercies and bounties to you, your wife, everyone, everything for you. That act is highly recommended. Pray in absence of your brother and sister. Okay, we all know about it. All the scholars knew about it. But Sahib Mikyal, sometimes they refer to him as Sahib Mikyal. The author uses that and says, guess what? You see all these bounties and encouragement and the thawab about praying for your brother in his absence. Guess what? Who is your absent brother in Islam, in religion? Isn't the first and the most important one is Imam of your time, Imam Mahdi alayhi salam? Imagine how first of all, how important it is to do that. You don't forget your parents, you don't forget your classmates when you go for ziyarah, or when you are doing namaz in your qunut of Salat al-Layl, you pray for them, right? But why you forget about Imam Mahdi from this aspect, that you are praying for your brother in religion in his absence. This is what we meant by interdisciplinary approach about Mahdawiya topics. And with that, he has a lot of basically new information, new ideas, which is really, again, interesting for us. I don't have time. Inshallah, we'll see the details. Again, these are just overview, so I leave it for future. So last slide for today is the little, I wanted to make it as a discussion, significance of yes, there is a comment in the chat that is a mediocre comparison. La yuqasu bina ahad. Yes, probably better reasoning could have been given. Yes, that's I see your point, Brother Mahdi, but still that's in a different level, not definitely to do the qiyas and comparison our brothers with the Imam alayhi salam, but actually maybe I paraphrased the topic is praying for a believer in his absence. Dua lil mu'min fi ghaybatih, like while he is not absent, he's not present, so you pray for him. So on top of the all believers and all mu'mineen is the Imamul Mu'mineen, Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. So that's where he make that connection and make that point. So last part, again, as I said, the book is about the benefits of praying for the Imam. But first of all, what is the significance of supplicating, dua, prayer? What are your thoughts? Forget about Imam Mahdi for a second, God forbid. Why prayer matters. Supplication, asking Allah about things. Gives you hope. What else? And friends online, feel free to open your mic and talk, which is encouraged. And I appreciate that. I mean, in general, what is significance of prayer, supplication? And by the way, I like the word supplication when I did research about what it means, like the definition of it. Seeking proximity to Allah, okay? Reminds you of your duties and responsibilities. Like by how? Like when you asked for something, you remember that that's something you need to do? Gives you the opportunity to talk and speak to Allah. Very good point. What else? Reminds you of your faith and your deen. Yes. You can wish for whatever you want, right? Making a stronger connection with Allah. Great. Quran says, I mean, that topic itself can be a topic of like hours of discussion. Or وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي or فَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي. So when people ask you about me, which maybe they didn't ask because they didn't care, so I'm encouraging, I mean, I'm telling you, prophets, say that. Tell them, I'm close. I'm close. I respond to whoever calls upon me. So they should talk to me, call me. And I say one thing and move on about ijabah, because that's a very common question. There are some other notes I will read. Ijabah is not giving what I want. That is downgrading Allah as a careless billionaire that whatever you want, he gives you. Ijabah is I look at you. What do you want? Talk to me. And you have trust in me. I will give you what is better and the best for you. Be with me, I'm with you. Okay. Ijabah has a very interesting meaning and topic. Again, we can talk about it later. Again, turning, what do you want? That from God, the what do you want itself is a priceless thing, right? His attention will be with us. فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي. And then again, we have in the prayers, we read in the month of Ramadan that, oh Allah, you are the one who encouraged us to respond to whom you called. You told us to talk to you and call you, and we are doing that. So give your attention and your blessing to us. So let me read some of the comments. Positive energy around you. One would be, as Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, there are keys to God subhanahu wa ta'ala that are not open except with dua. We have a lot of hadith and verses of Quran about prayers that we don't have time to go over. Dua mukhul ibadah, like the core, the best of the best worship is dua. Asking Allah, because in that we have tawheed, we know that we have nothing, He has everything. And I'm keep looking at the clock. So with that, I think we can stop for today. I don't know if anyone has any other comment or question or feedback. If not, inshallah, from next week, we will go to the content of the book of Mikyal. I will, inshallah, post okay, so brother says I'm in the hospital. I know as a doctor, so don't worry. Cannot unmute to talk today. Message is get delivered not at this right time. Yes, sorry about it. So that's the what comes with the hybrid environment. All right, with that, inshallah, we'll adjourn and then we're gonna recite the dua. Next week, please, people that they come in person, be on time. So we can start on time. Today, I think was good, considering the rain and everything. And inshallah, please provide your comments and feedback to me to improve the format and encourage more discussion. With that, yes, again, at least skimming through the table of content of Mikyal is highly encouraged. This is mustahab muakkad. Not wajib, but mustahab muakkad. The mustahab is just to read. Sorry, this is mustahab muakkad. The mustahab is like you go and read more details. That's encouraged. With that, let's close. They are asking, so are you going to go over specific chapters each week? Yes and no. Yes and no. Let me actually give you a heads up for next week, at least that will help you. We will talk about the knowing the Imam alayhi salam and some of his rights on us, which was the chapter 1 of the book of chapter 1 and 2. Sorry, chapter 1 and 3. So we will not talk about the proving the imamah. We'll talk a little bit about that, but our focus would be on chapter 1 and 3 next week, inshallah. Does that help, Brother Hussam? Allahumma salli ala. Any other question before we close? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. اللهم اجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.